Welcome back. I'm going to try to solve some more chess puzzles today. This will likely be my only chance to practice chess at all today. I've got other things to do. But also be warned, last time that I was going up the puzzle rating before I reset it, when I got to this point, about 1900, that's where I started stalling. I think it took me 5 or 6 sessions to get from there to 2000. So hopefully I can do better this time, but there's no guarantee. So let's take a look. All right, in this position, my opponent has just moved their rook back one. I'm not sure why. It was under threat from the knight, but now it's under threat from the other knight. Let's see, do I have any checks? I do not. I actually cannot get any of my pieces. I mean, that would be a check if this pawn wasn't here. The only way I can see to remove that pawn is to do this, but that's not guaranteed. They're not guaranteed to take back this way. They might take back with their queen. But if they did take back, I would have a check. I don't know how good that would be. In a game, I would probably take the rook. Let's see. I'm up slightly on material if you're just counting pieces. I'm up 1 point of material, but if we're counting pawns, then I'm down because my opponent has 2 extra pawns. So I don't know if taking there is best, because they could, what happened? They don't have to take back. They could check here. Actually, yeah, I think if I take the rook, I think they're going to check me on h5. And then I don't have anything to, because right now my knight is guarding h5, right? But if I go over and take the rook with it, it's not guarding h5 anymore. But their knight is still guarding these 2 spots. So I would have to move out of check at that point. And then they would come down here to h7, and I think that would be checkmate. So I need to think twice about that, because then they would have a forced mating sequence. I really don't know. I don't see anything else. That wasn't it. I honestly didn't expect that to be it. That puzzle was rated over 2000. What was the answer? Hint. It was a queen move, but it was over there. I'm not sure why. I mean, I get that it would protect the knight move there, plus it would be guarding here. Okay, what would they do if I did that? They would go all the way down there, where I would take it. I think I would still take it, wouldn't I? I mean, then they could advance this pawn. That's not looking great. Then I could take the knight, but then they would take my knight with promotion. Should I take? Oh, I can now take this pawn with check. Should I do that? Nope. This puzzle is beyond me. It is a knight. It is taking the rook. Okay, they're going to advance the... No, they're not going to advance the pawn. Well, here I'm pretty sure I need to move out of check rather than blocking, because if I block, they're going to take and have that same mating situation. Okay, but why didn't they advance the pawn? Okay. Yeah, I had no idea. Okay. So they were up +3 if only they had brought their rook back. But instead they did that. And that gives me a -3. But only if I go, whoops, only if I play queen to f5 do I have -3. Any other move is at least +5 for the opponent. So what would they do if I went here? Just out of curiosity, okay. They would just bring this back, it says. No, they would bring this rook down here, it says. Okay, now my best move would be to take the pawn with check. And they would just move it over. That would be their best move. Then I would take the rook, I assume. Oh no, it says now my best move is to take the knight. What? But then they would take here. Now why wouldn't I take? How bad does it get if I take? Oh, if I take the rook, then they still have this. Okay. So that's why I had to move the queen over there. That's why I had to move the queen here, was to protect against their mating idea. And now their best move is still to play rook to e8. And here I figured my best move was probably to take it. No, here I didn't think my best move was to take it. Here I thought my best move was to capture the pawn with check. But it says that's at least my 3rd best move, if not worse. So I have to take the rook, and then why won't they advance the pawn? Why is this better for them? What am I going to do if they advance the pawn? Oh, because my other knight is guarding that promotion square, I guess. So I would just move this knight back now. That's why they wouldn't advance the pawn. Their best move was to check me, and my best move was to get out of check. And now here they have, by far, their best move is to take this knight. And after that, I assume my moves are fairly equal. Yeah, that's why the puzzle didn't continue, because here it doesn't matter. It's at -3 whether I take the knight or the pawn. I think I would take the pawn because, again, they're threatening to advance here. And my knight is hanging, right? If I take their knight, they're going to take mine. Although it says they wouldn't. If I took their knight, it says they would go here with check. Why wouldn't they take my knight to help prepare this? Okay, I don't know. This one's beyond me. I'm going to quit wasting your time and mine. I've come to the point in my chess education when I can tell there's something that I don't yet understand. And so I'm going to move on, and maybe my brain will digest that information in some way in the future. Next puzzle. Let's see. Okay, they have captured something here, I suppose, threatening my queen. But we know from the way that puzzles are constructed that that's a blunder. So I have to do something about it. Here it looks fairly obvious that I should take it because my rook is here. Also, it's worth noting that my bishop cuts off this square. So when I take here with my queen on f7, their king is forced to move over. Then I will check on the back rank, they will take me, and I will take with my rook, and I think that will be mate. Okay, but it took me a little while to see it, because the target time on that puzzle was 16 seconds. And it was only rated 1332, and no theme is listed. One of the ongoing themes of my puzzle videos is pointing out that the themes are often wrong or not listed at all on these puzzles. And so when you do puzzles by theme, you're going to get incorrectly themed puzzles, I should say. I have added or suggested the theme Mate in 3+. Let's go on to the next puzzle. Okay, their queen has come up to challenge my queen. Do I have any checks in this position? I do have this check, but then they can take back with either the knight or the king at that point. I don't have a lot else in this situation, I don't think. I can't retreat my queen at this point because the knight covers that square and my pawns are blocking the rest of the way. And of course, their queen is still hitting these squares, so I'm not going to go that way. I could go this way, but I don't think that threatens anything. Well, let's see what happens if I take their queen. If I take the queen, they have two choices to take back, with their king or their knight. I don't know which one they would do. And if they took with their king, what would I have then? I wouldn't have a follow-up check with the bishop because it would be unprotected at that point. If they took my queen with their knight after I capture here, I don't think would have a very strong follow-up. Again, I am at a loss. Wait, can I? No. I thought about just doing that to block this attack, but they would just take it. Because that spot's also guarded with their knight. So they would get a bishop and a queen for a queen. Okay, another idea I had was taking the bishop with my rook first. That would temporarily protect this. But then I think they would just capture with their pawn. But then I could capture with my pawn. Or go here and check. But then they could still block that. But then I could win the rook. Maybe that's it. Maybe I give up the exchange here. That keeps them from just taking my queen, I think, because if they did, I would just pick up a queen and a bishop for a queen, and I would come out ahead on that. But if I take the bishop, I assume they would take back with the pawn, so I would be down temporarily in exchange, but then I could check here, which forks these two pieces. And they can't move out of check this way to guard their rook with the other rook. They would have to either block with the queen or move over, and either way I would take the rook. That's the best thing that I see, so I'm going to try that. Oh, that was it, and they took my queen anyway. Okay, well, I did not expect them to take my queen. Okay, some of the themes listed here are exchange, sacrifice. I think that's correct. Hanging piece. Oh, my piece was hanging, so sure. Interference. I don't know what that means, so I'm not going to check that up or down. A pin. Was anything pinned at that point? I don't think anything was pinned at that point. Remove the defender. Okay, I was removing the defender of that pawn, so I guess. And vulnerable king? Maybe. I don't know. I try to correct the themes so that if you ever do puzzles by theme, you will have better luck with it. Okay, we are in the opening in this puzzle. We have each developed 2 pieces, and it looks like we had a pawn exchange at some point. Because my c-pawn is missing, but their e-pawn is missing. And I'm not sure exactly how that happened, but no pieces have been exchanged. They've left this kind of hanging. I mean, they've moved out the knight to protect it, but we know from puzzle construction that that's not good. So do I take it? If I do, they'll take back. Then I would have a check here on a5. But then they would just move their knight back to where it started and block that check. And then I could push the pawn. I could push the pawn now, but then they would take here with check. I would take back, I think, and then they would get their knight out of harm's way. And if they did anything besides move the knight back, I would just win the knight. So I think they would move the knight back, then I could push the pawn, and the knight would be pinned. So I'm going to try that. I don't see anything else. Oh, that was it. I'm going to check. They had to go back. Now I'm going to attack the pinned piece with my pawn. Okay, well that was mean. They just attacked my queen with the pawn. Oh, should I take it with the bishop? And if they take back, I win their rook, and I'm still threatening the knight. I think I'll do that. Should I take the pawn or the rook? Probably the rook. Okay. All right. Well, that puzzle was a little bit closer to my level at 1773. The only theme on it was pin. I mean, that was a pin before they moved the pawn. And I put pressure on the pinned piece. PP on the PP. Okay. Next puzzle. We only have 3 pawns and a king. So that takes away a lot of options. We don't have to worry about rooks and queens and strange diagonals. I'm just going to go ahead and guess that moving my A pawn is not the answer because that just doesn't do anything. And then they're going to move one of these pawns. Actually, can my king stop all of those? If they move this and I capture it, and then they move that, I will come back and will be prepared to capture it. So yeah, I think my king can blockade all these pawns as long as I don't do one of those moves. Yeah, as long as I don't move my king right now, I can stop all those pawns. If I move my king here, this pawn advances and I can't get back to stop it because this pawn guards that square. And the same thing happens if I go over here. They move that pawn down and it's guarding this square and their other pawn's guarding that square, so I can't get back to stop it. But if they move one of their pawns first, whichever one they move I can take, and then I'll be in a position to stop the other one. So leaving my king here, that I'm pretty sure we eliminated the king as a piece to move. Okay, if I move this pawn, they will take it. I'm almost positive. So I think we should move this pawn, c3. But then won't they go into kind of a position like we're in where they get between them and they can stop both of them? Yes, they will. But then I will have one more piece I can move, and then they have to move. Okay, I think that's it. Okay, they did go between them, so now I can't move either one because they can take it. Whichever one I move, they can take and still be in time to stop the other one. But I have, it's my turn, and I have one more pawn that can move, and then they don't have any pieces that can move, and they have to move something. Okay, now I can stop this pawn, and then when they move that, I can stop that pawn too. Okay, right here has to be the answer. Well, I'm going to take this one, because if I take that one, they promote. So I'm going to take on h7, and then if they move forward, I can come back. Okay, here I move this forward. There's no other option, right? Or do I get in front of this pawn? Let's see, if I move this one forward, it's guarding that square and that square, so they could take this pawn, but they can't get to, but the only way they could get to my e-pawn would be to go here, and then I would promote. So yeah, I'm going to move my e-pawn forward. Okay, I have to take that. That was a lot of moves. How many moves was that? Theme was passed pawns, well that's correct, and Zugzwang, which I believe is a German word, but I don't speak German, so I'm not sure. No lo sé, as they say in Espanol. I'm going to click the analysis board just because I'm curious as to how many moves I just made. Good grief, you see that list, right? Because that was their first move. And then I made 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's an 8-move puzzle. I think that's a record. I don't think I've ever done an 8-move puzzle before. All right, well, weren't you aren't you glad you were here for that? Next puzzle. I'm in check. If I block check with my knight, they will get my rook. If I block check with my rook, it's protected by the queen. Then where would they go? Let's see. If I block with my rook, do they have any other piece that can check me then? Yes, they do. They would check me with that knight, maybe. And then I think I would want to move over here. I could move out of check right now, but then they take my rook. I can't move out of check to these squares because of their bishop guarding those, and their pawn guards this one. Their queen, of course, hits this, and their pawn hits that, and their queen and pawn hit those. So I have two choices for moving out of check, but either one of those, I think they just take this rook, and of course that one, and they would take my rook with check. So I think I need to block with my rook, but then I assume they're going to check here, and then I will have to move out of check some way. Probably not to one of these squares, because once their knight moves, their bishop would be hitting those two again, right? Well, let's say blocking with the rook is the answer. Okay, it was, and they did check me there. Okay, so I'm not completely out of touch with chess. But again, I don't want to move here or here, I'm pretty sure, because of their bishop. Because then, let's say I moved here, then their knight's going to go, I don't know, there or something, and they're going to be checking me this way. What if I move here? I think they would check me again, wouldn't they? And if I go here, they can check me again with the bishop, and then I would have to go here. So I might as well go there in the first place. What are they going to do if I go here? I think they're going to check me this way, but I could block with my rook again. But then they move the knight, and their bishop is hitting there. Or should I just come straight forward? I don't think that's good, because then anywhere they move their knight is check from the bishop. So I think here. And I could be wrong. I might be. Oh, I was right, and they did go there, okay? But again, I'm not liking this idea. If I block with my rook, there's that. As soon as they have to move their knight first, though. So if I block with my rook, they have to move their knight somewhere just for their bishop to hit that piece. And I don't know where they're going to move their knight, or what else I could do while they do that, because it wouldn't be check. Where are they going to move the knight? Because if they move the knight there, I could just take it. But again, I don't think I want to... Well, I can't go there, right? I don't think I want to go here because of that discovered check. Right now, their knight is covering this. Their queen is covering all of these squares. So my only king move choice is to f6. And my other choice is to block with the rook. So it comes down to those two. It's got to be the rook. What? Okay. I'm confused. I'm going to go to the analysis board. I thought they were going to move their knight so they could put pressure on the pinned piece. Why didn't they do that? Okay, here, yeah, they did that, and that turned out to be a blunder because I could block with the rook, which threatens their queen. Oh, I know why they didn't do it now. Okay. Yeah, because they're not going to move the knight because then I would just take the queen. Okay. Okay, but it says, Stockfish says their best move is to move the queen out of that. And it was actually quite a bit worse for them to take. But I'm guessing that if they move over here, if they just move the queen aside, then there wasn't a follow-up move for me. That's a best move to make a puzzle. So this way there's only one follow-up move. Okay. But yeah, that's okay. I was incorrectly worried about the knight moving to put pressure on the pinned piece because my rook could have just taken the queen. That's the part I missed. Okay, I think I have time for one more puzzle. And as you can see, my progress here is slower. I started at 1909 and I've just now gotten up to 1926. So I've only gained 17 points in 20-something minutes. All right, let's do next puzzle and see. Hopefully we won't fail this. Okay, we have not very many options here. They're up 2 pawns. Our opponent is up 2 pawns at this point. They've just done something here, possibly taking one of our other pawns. But we have 2 pieces hitting that square. I think we can take their rook. If they take, they won't take back because of our queen. So what would they do if we took the rook? Would they check us? If they checked us, we would block with this rook, would we not? No, I don't know. I don't know, because then they could go back here and check us. And, oh no, they still couldn't win that rook because our queen's guarding it. So I think it has to be taking the rook. Well, that's a fantastic way to end this video. Let's see, what was it taking the rook with our queen? It was taking the rook with our queen. I don't know why that's so much better, but it was so much better. Let's check the analysis board, and I'm on my clock. I've gone over 30 minutes, but I might have edited this by the time you see it to take out some of my pauses. So in that case, it will be less than 30 minutes. Lucky you. Yeah, they were supposed to have just gone back here or played c5, but they were hungry for that pawn and they took it. Now, why shouldn't I take it? It says we would be even, zeros, if I took with a rook. And the reason is because they would check, like I said, but then I would block with this rook, and then they would go where? Then they would go there and check, which is what I said. Oh, and then I would block with the rook. Perpetual. Okay, that's why. Because they can just go back and forth between those 2 squares. That makes perfect sense. So I should take with the queen. Now they can't check here or here. So they take my queen and I take their queen and I'm up a rook. And I should be able to stop those extra pawns. This one's not passed because I can stop it. Although that would leave me with really badly doubled pawns. But yeah, with my 2 rooks, I should be able to stop these 2 pawns. Okay, well, we figured that out. But we did end this with a downslope, so the net gain was not much. What was the net gain? 6 points? Well, that's the way it goes sometimes. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.